Welcome! Today we're going to learn how to play Quiltable OverSewn with 1 to 8 players. Let's get started! Welcome to spring! You've planted a garden and started a quilt. Now can you balance both hobbies? You'll learn new skills, harvest your garden, and most importantly sew, but through it all, keep a close eye on the garden growth to keep it from becoming overgrown. First, start by bringing 2 dice per player plus 1 extra. For an 8-player game, that would be 17 dice. We're going to show you how to do a 3-player game and use 7 dice. To begin, each player takes a game sheet and adds 1 die with the number 1 face upwards on the number 1 spot on your overgrowth track. Next, we're going to roll the remaining dice in the center of the table, and going clockwise around the table, from the start player on, each player selects 1 die. So maybe we would select a 1. Each other player also selects a die, and then the remaining die is left in the center of the table. This is the growth die. Then all players simultaneously assign the die that they chose to one of the available 3 slots on their sheet. Then you take the indicated action, and then you use the final die to grow your garden. A 5 would mean that we move the growth up by 5 slots. If the die rolls over or goes past the top, then you roll it to the next number with the next face and continue counting from number 1. And then you cross out squares in your garden, connected squares equal to the number now showing. So in this case, we would cross out 2 squares in the garden and collect the bonus. So in this original scenario, we've selected a 1. Our overgrowth track is right at the beginning, and we're going to gain 5 growth at the end of this turn. So maybe we want to start with a learn action. That's always a good place to go. The 1 means that on line 1, we go ahead and unlock the first block. So now we have more sewing ability with future die rolls of 1. Each other player takes their actions, and we move our overgrowth up by 5 spaces. Then we return the action dice to the center and re-roll. Once again, each player selects a die to use, but this time the player to our left is the start player. Now, since we rolled over the end of the track, we need to harvest some overgrown garden squares. And we'll probably want to start by gaining some gardening ability and moving towards unlocking more sewing abilities. Once more, return the dice to the center, roll them all, and now the third player is the start player. So now we roll again. The next player starts, takes a 1. Next player already likes 3s, and we really want to do this number 1 action, so we're going to take the growth hit there. But if we sew with that 1, then we're able to sew one of these chicks, hatching eggs, into our quilt. And then cut down growth. 1, 2. That's our current skill level, and then increase our skill level for next time. And then we take 6 in growth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alrighty, now we'll have to cross out 4 connected sections. Maybe let's go ahead and cut down our growth by 3 this time. 1, and so we'll roll it back down to a 3, 2, 3. And we'll go here, gain some endgame points, and go here. Now one more 1. Maybe the other players leave it for us, and we're able to sew another chick. Now with these 3 right here, we have completed this first pattern. So we draw the chick block in to show that that's what we use to complete this pattern. And then we check the box, which means at the end of the game we're going to get 1 point, and we can also increase our gardening skill level further. Now, placing this chick here does several things, so we're going to pause before finishing the action. First, it completes a row, so we're going to check that box, which allows us to unlock another ability. Maybe let's go ahead and do this one. And then the zigzag of 4 chicks completes this pattern, which is in a different group, so we can reuse the chick block here. Alright, so final action of the game. We're going to sew another chick right here. And that ends the game. The game would also end if someone completed all their patterns or ran out of squares, or if the overgrowth track maxed out with a 6. Trying to move past the, or landing on the 7. In either case, we can go ahead and tally up points. So first, you get 1 point per garden square that's uncrossed out. We have 3, 6. And then 2 points per garden star that is crossed out. That's 2, 4, 6. And then you have points for each pattern. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 6, 12. 1 point for every block you sewed. It's 4, 8, 12, 15, 18. And finally, 1 point per special block that you sewed. That's one of these 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives us a grand total of 42. Okay, the player with the highest points wins. If there's a tie, it's the player who sowed the highest number of special blocks. Now, a solo game is a little bit different. In the solo game, you'll face off against a neighboring quilting gardener who will score points as your garden becomes more and more overgrown. So you'll take 4 dice total to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. You use 1 as your growth die, 2 as action dice as usual, and then 1 as a fertilizer die based on your opponent. For the easiest opponent, you set that fertilizer die to 1. For the hardest opponent, you set that to 4. And then that is placed by the side of your garden as a reminder. Now you play the game as normal. Each turn you roll both action dice. As normal, you can pick 1 for an action and use the other to move up your overgrowth track. However, then you add your fertilizer die to move up the track again. So, for example, if we use the 2 to take a learn action here, then we would use this other 2 to move up here, and then our fertilizer die to move up 2 more. The usual criteria end the game if you finished your quilt or your garden, or if you max up the track or finish your patterns. And then you score points for your opponent. Each crossed out square in your garden is 1 point for your opponent. Each empty quilt square is 1 point for your opponent. And each unfinished pattern is points equal to the pattern points for your opponent. Now, with some opponents, you might happen to pass the end of the track twice. For example, with this roll, with this opponent, you would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then go ahead and harvest garden spots and take the bonus there, and then move up at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and harvest again using the new value. So that's how to play OverSewn. We hope you enjoy. Please leave any questions in the comments, and hope you have a lot of fun with the game. Thanks for watching.